The biblical narrative of Adam and Eve, along with their sons Cain and Abel, has been a source of theological contemplation and interpretation throughout history. Genesis 4 provides a clear account of Cain's birth, stating, "Now Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, 'I have acquired a man from the Lord.' Then she bore again, this time his brother Abel." However, in the realm of fringe biblical beliefs on the internet, a theory known as the Serpent Seed theory challenges the traditional understanding of Cain's paternity. This theory suggests that Cain was not fathered by Adam, but by the serpent in the Garden of Eden, namely, Satan. This video explores the Serpent Seed theory in depth, analyzing its 3 foundational planks and scrutinizing the biblical references used to support this unconventional idea. Before you go into the video details, we kindly ask you to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell. By doing so, you'll be among the first to access our informative and engaging content. Please consider liking and sharing this video with your loved ones. Plank number 1. Cain's alleged divine paternity. The first plank of the Serpent Seed theory attempts to establish that Cain's father was not Adam, but a divine being. The proponents of this theory point to a grammatical ambiguity in the Hebrew text of Genesis 4:1. The analysis revolves around a 2-letter word, which can be interpreted as either a particle marking the direct object of the verbs or a preposition indicating association or assistance. The theory suggests that if interpreted as a preposition, the verse could be read as "I have conceived and borne a man with the Lord," implying divine involvement in Cain's conception. However, a closer examination of the Hebrew text reveals the manufactured nature of this interpretation, as the word is more appropriately understood as a particle, emphasizing Cain as the direct object of the verbs. Plank number 2. The Targum's role in introducing Samael. The second plank of the Serpent Seed theory relies on an ancient Aramaic translation known as the Targum, particularly the Pseudo-Jonathan Targum. This translation adds an intriguing detail to Genesis 4:1, stating, "Adam knew his wife Eve, who had conceived from Samael, the angel of the Lord." However, it is crucial to note that this Aramaic translation, dated confidently to the 7th or 8th century AD, introduces details not present in the original Hebrew Old Testament. The theory's reliance on this latent fictional source raises questions about its credibility. The Targum's assertion that Samael is the father of Cain lacks support in the authentic Genesis manuscripts. Plank number 3. Utilizing the New Testament for support. The third plank of the Serpent Seed theory introduces the New Testament to reinforce the idea that Cain's birth was unnatural. Proponents cite 1 John 3:11-12. Emphasizing the phrase "who is of the wicked one" as evidence of Cain's satanic paternity. However, a comprehensive examination of the broader context, including verse 10, reveals that the contrast in 1 John 3 is between the spiritual children of God and the children of the devil. The Serpent Seed theory's attempt to isolate and manipulate specific verses collapses when considered within the comprehensive message of the passage. Critical evaluation of the Serpent Seed theory. As we unravel the layers of the Serpent Seed theory, it becomes evident that the entire construct is built upon shaky foundations. Nowhere in the Hebrew text is there any indication that Yahweh is synonymous with Samael or Satan. The alleged grammatical ambiguity in Genesis 4:1 is a result of selective interpretation, and the reliance on the Targum introduces unsubstantiated details into the narrative. Moreover, bringing the New Testament into the discussion reveals the theory's attempt to draw unsupported connections between unrelated passages. Faith, interpretation, and sound theology. In conclusion, the serpent seed theory fails to withstand critical scrutiny when subjected to a thorough examination of biblical texts and historical context. The theory's appeal to grammatical ambiguities, late translations, and isolated verses from the New Testament lacks the scholarly rigor required for a valid theological interpretation. The traditional understanding of Cain's paternity, as outlined in Genesis 4, remains coherent and consistent with the broader biblical narrative. Ultimately, the serpent seed theory serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the importance of approaching biblical interpretation with a discerning and informed perspective, grounded in sound theological principles.
If you found this video enjoyable, please consider liking and sharing it. Additionally, subscribing to this channel will ensure that you receive more updates in the future. Thank you.